Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some entitled parent stories and our first story of the day is by BowlOfPoodleNoodles. My girlfriend's entitled mother wants to stalk my girlfriend's location, her bank account, and even when she is a grown adult, keeps stalking everything she will do. First, I'd like to say yesterday was our 1 year and I'm leaving for basic training November 24th, so I wouldn't be there for her 18th birthday in December. My girlfriend is 17 and I'm 18. My girlfriend's mom loves to stalk all of my girlfriend's transactions and will question every one transaction she makes. She also loves to look at where she is at 24/7, and she's the kid that actually listens in the family. Today I found out her mom despises me due to me going into military and being poor. Today my girlfriend texted me this. My mom told him not to tell me this, but Keegan, brother of my girlfriend, is nice. So basically when she was at her friend's, Senior, nickname for the brother, said they were talking bad about me the whole time. My mom said that she doesn't understand why I'm basing my whole life around you and that I do good in school, so she doesn't think I should do online college. She's wanting to do graphic arts when we move into military housing. And he said that she was complaining, saying that I never want to drive anywhere like to the store to grab like one thing for them. Like, I'm sorry, but one, you never ask me to do that, and two, I actually will go drive and you just want me to because you're too lazy to do it yourself. I'd like to start off with, I live in the poor class and my girlfriend lives in the wealthy class. Today, I also found out my girlfriend's mom wanted to know what I bought her for our anniversary. I know it might not sound bad, but she believes that I should have evened the money out since she spent almost $1,000 on me for our anniversary. I didn't want her to. The only reason why she did this is because recently she found out I have gone in debt 3 times to make her happy during hard times by bringing her to nice dinner places, going on expensive dates, and buying her things she's always dreamed of. So she bought me a diffuser I've always wanted, a light alarm, and making me a custom Xbox controller. I asked my girlfriend if she wanted anything for the anniversary, and she said only a stuffed penguin, which was $20, nothing else. Her mom believes that I'm not right for her, has made my girlfriend cry millions of times because of our relationship, and many things. It's to the point where my girlfriend wants to move out and never make communication with her side of the family ever. A little bit ago, I broke down thinking very badly about myself, but it did make me question. I never abused her verbally or physically, and I haven't and will never cheat on her. Sorry I had to rant, I'm so mad and furious. So in your guys' opinions, do you think OP and their girlfriend should just stick it out until they can move out and basically just cut contact if they're never going to approve of this relationship that makes the two of them very happy? Let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I think life is too short, and when you have somebody that you know you want to spend the rest of your life with, even if it's family, I don't think you should let them ruin that for you. But let me know your thoughts. Our next story is by Kitsune257, How Rich Entitled Parents, and rich entitled people in general, made trains using their horns illegal. A bit of context. This is a bit of history about 2 different towns, Town A and Town B in North Carolina. I grew up in Town A. Both Town A and Town B are right next to Big City. However, Town B to Big City is like Scottsdale to Phoenix in Arizona. It is full of rich people and thus more entitled people. The shenanigans of Town B. This town has a railway that passes close by to it. Just like with every railway, these trains use their horns as a safety mechanism to warn people that there was a train coming. Some people might think that this is ridiculous because trains are very large and thus very loud. However, trains are surprisingly quiet for their size. You might not see or hear one until it's a couple hundred feet from you and moving at around 40 miles per hour, around 67 kilometers per hour. However, the citizens of Town B can be highly entitled. I'm guessing it might be from the paying $600,000 for a moderately sized house thing. Anyways, enough of these entitled parents got together in a town meeting to ban the usage of trains using their horns when passing through this town. For anyone who has any amount of common sense, this is absolutely ridiculous. As I said before, a train horn is one of the only ways that you can tell a train is coming from far away. And to give you perspective on this, I grew up in town A. It's about 25 miles away from town B and doesn't cost anywhere near as much than to live in town B for the same quality house. What's the main difference? We have an active railroad running through the heart of downtown for over a century. I live several miles away from those railroad lines and I could still hear the train horn. As far as I know, nobody has ever brought up the problem of trains using their horns or passing through downtown. As a better example of how much we don't care about the active railroad line going right through the heart of the town, a few years ago there was a new neighborhood built right next to the railroad line. Heck, there are trailer houses literally right next to the tracks. I just think that it's interesting how two different towns, only 25 miles apart, can have two very different views on trains based upon how much it costs to live there. I definitely think it's the whole paying $600,000 for a moderately sized house thing. See, they had the money to pick and dictate where they get to live, which to these entitled people, the reality of a train blaring nearby, unbelievable. Whereas in the other town where you have mobile trailers literally almost on the tracks and the railroad going right through the middle of the town, if it's lower income, you get a little bit more of that population that just can't choose where they want to live, and either way just have to put up with it. I'm not saying that it's solely those two kinds of people, but it does contribute to it. Our next story is by Safira11, entitled Parent Tries to Rob Coffee Shop Because of Dropped Donut. This happened in 2012, so all details may be a little foggy. I used to work at a famous coffee shop here in Canada. It was my first job that I had worked at since I was 17. So at the time, I had already been there for 2 going on 3 years. About 1 to 2 hours into the shift, this guy comes in, orders a coffee for himself and a donut and juice for his child. My partner, working front cash with me, picked up the donut and as he was putting it in the bag, dropped it on the floor. I did what every normal human being would do working fast food. I threw it away while my partner grabbed another. Apparently, this didn't bode well with the entitled parent. He lost it, calling my partner an idiot for dropping it and began demanding that we fish the donut out of the garbage as it was a waste of food. Normally, I'd agree, but after a long shift of no one cleaning the floors by the cash due to how busy it was, I wasn't about to give him a floor gunk donut. I told him that it is impossible. It's in the garbage, and regardless of it being in there, I wasn't allowed to serve floor donuts to customers. That was fine, he paid for his food and left. Now, I was working front cash on evening shift. The previous shift was run ragged and couldn't do very much. As I said before, it was about 2 hours into our shift and caches were just changed out, so I knew exactly what was in the cash. Now, not many people pay for $6 worth of food with $20 bills. Most people that come only use 10s or, if it's a super large order, card. Why am I saying this? Well, the guy came back about 20 minutes after he'd initially left. This time, not for coffee. This time, he claimed I'd given him the wrong change. He said he'd given me a 20 and that I'd only given him the change for a 10. Oh, really? Well, let me check quickly, sir. If I did, that's my mistake. So I opened the cash. Remember when I said caches were only recently changed? Well, the way our manager does caches, she puts a specific amount of money in there based on what we go through most. Well, seeming how we basically never go through them, save the odd time, there was only 1 in the cash. I told him that it's impossible for him to have given me a 20 as there was only 1 in the cash, which was the one the manager put in the cash when she changed them over. He didn't like this at all and left again. Normally this would be the end, right? Nope. He came back a 3rd time, this time childless. It wasn't busy at this point, so we were doing chores while serving the odd customer. He walks up to the cash, I look at my colleagues and walk up to him. What can I help you with, sir? Open your cash and give me all your money. It was hard to keep my composure at this guy. He was weaponless, his child was in the car waiting. So I chuckled and said to him, sure, let me just run that by my manager real quick. You think he'd leave, but no, he stayed. At this point, everyone recognizes the guy. My manager's pissed because she knows that he got back the right amount of money. He was told to get out, don't come back. If you do, the cops will be called and will place charges for uttering threats. This isn't the only time I had to deal with entitled parents and Karens though. Oh no, I have plenty more stories about said coffee shop. I just kind of hope that this guy wasn't overly down on his luck in a bad way. It's one thing for them to try and commit fraud there and ask for false change back, but the fact that they went and said open the register and give me all your money with no real threatening presence, no weapon, no anything, and with their child in the car, it just strikes me as really peculiar. This next story is by Discombobulated Cut 68. Entitled Mother Sets Kids Play Area on Floor of Fancy Restaurant. I was working at an expensive restaurant, $75 at least per head, not including booze. We didn't ban kids per se, we just didn't cater to them. No high chairs, no kids menu, no menu changes, etc. We were regularly fully booked as we were an awarded destination place. People would literally drive 3+ hours to dine with us. During a busy Sunday lunch, one of the first tables to arrive was a big table 15+ packs. The only space for a bigger table is lengthways down the middle of the restaurant. At one end is a window, and the other is a walkway for others to get to their tables at the back and door leading to the back of the house and bathrooms. Entitled Mother comes in with a massive pram and parks it at the end partly in the walkway, though there was sit space for people to get to the tables and doorway. But then Entitled Mother proceeds to put her baby on the floor next to the pram in the walkway, blocking the doorway, and spread the kids' toys all around her. This is where we carry hot, heavy plates and trays. Do you really want me to drop something on your baby? Also, any restaurant floor is not sanitary enough to crawl on. I've had people drop glasses, plates, booze on there. It's carpet, it may get vacuumed every night, but things get missed. So I have no choice after watching a table get sad while trying to avoid the baby and toys awkwardly. Not a good look after driving so long and spending so much for a meal. Tell the Entitled Mother that the baby needs to move. Entitled Mother gives me a glare and a very pissed off, "Why?" I explain all the reasons above. She looks to her group rolling her eyes trying to get back up. They all avoid eye contact or pretend they didn't hear and are talking about other things. It's her friend's hens, so I don't think they're keen on the baby in the first place. Entitled Mother then stands up, grabs the baby and her toys, dumps them in the pram, and continues to shoot daggers at me for the rest of the time. On her way out, intentionally rams her pram into every chair or wall or door. Her friends all had to put in to cover the bride's meal and drinks, except she only paid for her food, even though she enjoyed a fair few champagne glasses. Yep, this entitled parent is just a jerk. Read the room, right? You're in a fancy restaurant, you're lucky that they even allowed you to take the baby in the place. You don't turn the fancy restaurant into a playpen, especially not in front of doors and walkways. Our next story is by Kwiyomikat. My sister is a grade A runt McDougal. My niece has been through a lot since birth due to my sister's reckless decisions. I can't really blame my niece, 6, for a lot of the behavior she has because she's coping as best as she can. Father is involved, should be joint but isn't. He does as much as he is allowed. So recently they, niece 6, nephew 1, and doggo got grounded from the house. Wasn't even their fault. My sister did a drive-by drop-off. We were unprepared food and drink-wise to say the least. Whilst I was walking my niece and doggo, she dropped off their car seats and went no contact with our mother until we threatened to call the police, their fathers, and the animal abuse unit. My niece loves to FaceTime her dad when she's going through it, but we have Androids, so she got Messenger for kids. We were having fun talking to her, made sure she understood it wasn't her fault, and just generally being goofballs. Did I mention my niece is 6? Okay, well I have Messenger Lite because I have a crap ton of games on my phone. Explain that to her? Good. Teaching her how to spell words and whatnot, and here comes her mother yelling about something miscellaneous. Something is wrong with one of my ears, so I didn't really hear it that well, but the part I did hear, niece says, "Mom, can you stop smoking? It stinks." "Go in another room then." "I'm talking to Auntie though." Well, if you stop making a mess, I'll stop smoking. Yes, this high key pissed me off and I made up an excuse to get off the phone, and now she's talking to her grandma. I wish the courts would hurry up and give him joint custody. I hate how they are impartial to dads because he's a real good one. I know my niece loves her mother, but she does not like her, especially after the Kindle situation. I won't go too deep into my niece's situation, but she's been through the system and y'all know how unforgiving it is. She has anxiety, can't stand being alone, and PTSD. We keep telling her mama to put her in therapy. No mas. Niece had a Kindle where she could be in her own safe space. What kind of mother gaslights their own 5-year-old? Anyway, the entitled parents smashed the Kindle and sent my niece into a panic attack. We ended up buying her a new one, and I did the password, and she's kept the same password ever since. It's the same pass as my phone. I also hope my nephew's father will get joint. She really leaves my niece to watch my nephew whilst she sits outside in the car doing who knows what. Sorry, I really needed to rant, and I don't know why the docs didn't just tie her tubes. If the father is a legitimately good father and everything checks out as far as their living situation, their job situation, their overall health, it would be incredibly frustrating for me to hear about these fathers being absolutely shunned in courts as far as custody goes, basically because they're a father and they just don't treat fathers very well. Luckily, of course, it's not like that everywhere, but the places that are, I absolutely hate. And there's definitely a number of them. And our final story of the day is by Score6879. Entitled parent thinks he can have my dog because his entitled kid likes him. Restrictions in my area have gotten pretty relaxed, so I decided to take my dog to the dog park for the first time in like 7 months. I was walking around, he would be following me, playing with other dogs if they got close. We were there for like 20 minutes when a guy and his daughter walked by, coming the way I was going with their dog. They stopped when our dog started playing. His daughter started petting my dog and talking to him, which I normally wouldn't have a problem with, but with the world the way it is, no one should be touching other people's dogs. But I wanted to be nice, so I let her play with him for a minute. I started walking and my dog followed me. I thought that was it. When we crossed paths again, the dad said his daughter really liked my dog. I said, thanks, a lot of people do, then kept walking. He said she wanted him. We started having a back and forth argument about why he can't have my dog. Once people started watching, he gave up and started walking again. His daughter cried the entire rest of the time they were there. When I was ready to leave, I realized that his car was the first one by the exit. His daughter was waiting in the back seat and he was standing outside holding scissors. It could have just been me overreacting, but I thought he was gonna try to cut my dog's leash and get him in his car. So when I went to leave, I carried him. Looking at him, you'd probably guess my dog weighed around 60 to 70 pounds, but he's over 100, so if you were to pick him up, you'd be surprised at how heavy he is. When I walked out carrying him, I walked past his car and thought it was over. He came behind me and kicked the back of my knee as I was putting my dog in my car. I fell and he tried to pick up my dog. Thankfully, because of how heavy he is, the stupid mother dropped him in the middle of the parking lot. Don't worry, he's fine. I put him in my car and locked it before helping the guy up just to punch him in the face as hard as I could. Someone called the cops and they arrived as his daughter was helping him to his car. He gave some BS story about how I was stealing his dog. I told the cop what happened along with about 20 witnesses and they said I was free to go. Don't freak with people's dogs. If you're going to steal something from another person, probably try to avoid trying to steal their dog. To most people, or at least me, that would be like stealing their beloved child. You can't do that. I would fight tooth and nails for my dogs. This dude is disgusting. I wouldn't want to just leave after the cops said I'm free to go. The dude assaulted OP and tried to steal their dog. Charges are easily pressable in that situation. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So which of these stories was your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing and turn notifications on if you haven't so you'll never miss an upcoming video. Any little thing that you do helps the channel grow so much more. Whether it's commenting, subscribing, or just watching the video, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time right here.